Yeah, man. So, Mrs. Higgy, fire something at me for today. Let's get going.
You said, Lord Higgy, that you would like to talk about intent.
Yeah, I did. I did say that. You say, yeah, what the hell do I mean by intent? Well, I'm going to use a visual explanation for what intent really is. Check this out. So, intent. What does shooting a guy in the head have to do with guitar playing? So really, it's all about going after what you want with singular focus. And I talk about intent quite a lot, you know, and I have mentioned it loads in the past. It's buried deep in loads of my old videos, isn't it? I mean, I've loads of mindset stuff throughout the years in different places.
As we call it, it's getting your balls out of the jar.
Yeah, balls out of the jar. So it's like a metaphor.
Yeah, metaphorically, somebody has put your balls in a jar on a top shelf, and now we're saying, get them out, Velcro those bastards back on.
Yeah, I guess like using a visual analogy, is that the right word? I don't know, but it's kind of like the idea that life or something is kind of like, at some point, made you forget who you are, and you know, life busts everyone down. You know, life kind of fucks with all of us at some point, doesn't it? Or maybe it fucks with us all the time. What's that meme? At least life wants to fuck me.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I've packed in quite a lot of F words already, so
yeah.
It's less than a minute probably gone, or just over a minute. You know, I've already packed in loads of F words. But yeah, basically, it's like at some point, like life makes you forget that you've got balls. It takes them away, and it's like reminding that, oh shit, they're still there. Go and grab them, put them back on, you know, be who you are, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think also if you have a bad practice run or a bad, period with your guitar playing, I think that can take your balls back off, stick them in the jar and put them on the shelf,
doubt,
you know? Yeah, doubt. Yeah,
doubt.
Exactly.
It's like self-doubt. You know, anything can like make that doubt come in, like somebody leaving an asshole comment, just somebody making you question yourself as well. You know, a lot of that stuff, you know, makes you sort of forget that you actually are really capable, and you know, you are really intelligent, able to overcome stuff, and you're more determined than you realize. You know, a lot of stuff is out there to stop you from doing that and to distract you and take your attention away, and along the way you just sort of forget. You know, really it's just about tunnel vision in like you're focusing on something like an animal does, like a predator, you know.
Yes.
So we talked about this, like animals, like predators and stuff, and how they're designed to like focus on their prey, and like everything else becomes like a blur, right? You know, and all the senses kind of converge and like.
Well, we were talking about this just the other day, weren't they? Because you've just started clay pigeon shooting. So what do they call that in America?
They sometimes call it like trap shooting or skeet shooting, or well, it's all like the kind of the same thing, but there's different disciplines of it. But basically, it's you're shooting stuff made of clay. It's like these like little round discs get flung into the air. You've got a shotgun. You shoot them out of the air. So
but isn't it? This is something that you've.
It's awesome because a lot of this stuff transfers over to guitar playing or anything in life, and it's basically the only thing that matters is that target, that clay that's been flung into the air, and you're focusing on it to the point where it almost slows down, because like you are just so focusing on that thing that everything else is supposed to kind of, if you're doing it right, just kind of shrink away.
Or melt.
And melt away into the background, and your body just acts, and then you shoot it out of the sky. And it's that kind of focus and intent that when you apply that to your guitar playing, your accuracy of hitting something will actually go up, because you're not over-focusing on your body moving. So like, let's for example, string crossing like is a big thing, because there's a lot of stuff going on. So you know, picking on one string is one thing, you know, and a lot of people find that hard enough, right? But if you you know, if you can alternate up and down, right, it's not rocket science. Alternate up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? And, you know, the speed picking stuff that I've on about, the tremolo picking, if you can apply all that stuff, get it happening. That's step one, guys. You know, if you can apply that pick on the string approach that I talk about in that big speed picking video I did a few years back, literally there's no excuses not to be able to take that further.
But it's the intent that...
Well, yeah, that's intent is required for that too, and a lot of people won't do it. They won't allow themselves to take that leap because, again, they're still worried about, like, oh yeah, but I've been told that I should have like a floppy wrist, or it should be this way or that way. You know, they're focusing too much on the physical manifestations of it instead of the result, and having the intent of, like, no, I'm going to speed that pick up. The notes have to go faster. It has to go faster.
Gluing it to the string, you see that, like when you said to me about glue that pick to the string, and not physically glue.
Yeah, of course, it's a mental trick that you're using. As if you're glued to the string. Yeah,
and you said to me, you said, like, don't pull away from that string. Don't be tempted to feel the bounce away from the string, because obviously the resistance of the string is there. Yeah. You said, don't, you know, just put it again. I can't play guitar. I'm saying it again. I can't play guitar. And you really, really did.
Yes, but you were able to pick it up and apply that.
Yes, exactly.
Because you were just doing that.
Yeah.
And obviously this is a mechanism for you to be able to understand how to pick faster, literally. You know, but when it comes to string crossing, yeah, that's its own thing as well, you know. So whilst feeling the pick on the string, and it works in multiple hand positions as well, guys. You know, well, you don't have to hold your hand in a certain way. You know, if you've got like an outward leaning hand, you know, it still works. Wherever the hell you want to put your hand, yeah. Essentially, whatever the hell your hand wants to do, it will do it. If you want to speed that pick up, you know, that's all intent. But anyway, what I was saying was, before we get sidetracked, because we will get sidetracked, I was talking about crossing strings, right? And, you know, it's like a target thing, because you can easily miss the string when you go to pick it. Like that. And you can start thinking about your body. Now, really, the physical mechanics of stuff, understanding what's going on, what you need to do, is probably like 20 to 30% of the job. The rest of it is all your intent, okay? So let's say I'm giving you the 30% that you need of the technical stuff that you need to be thinking about and you need to be aware of, you know, because if you don't understand what's going wrong, you can't correct it. But once you understand what you need to do and what's going wrong, you've got that information, right? But then you need to turn that information from just information into physical activity. And this is where you bring the rest of it. You bring the intent. So with a string cross, if you know that the note you've got to get to is that 9th fret on the G string or whatever it happens to be, all right, that's where you're going to focus that aggressive intent, like you're shooting something out of the sky, like you are a lion chasing a gazelle, or whatever the hell it happens to be, okay? It is that intent that is going to enable your body to just do what it needs to do to get the job done, to hit the note, to hit the target, right? And that intent applies to everything you do on the guitar. Now, there does come a point, and we were talking about this earlier as well, is when you're learning this stuff and you're trying to get past a certain point in your playing where you're stuck and you're trying to learn this stuff, you're going to have to bring that intent, you're going to have to bring that focus, and yeah, it takes effort. It takes mental effort, of course it does. But you're not going to be there forever, so it's not like every time you pick your guitar up, you have to be 100% aggressive with it. It's not that, you know, because you get to the point where it does become a thing, it becomes natural, right? So you watch someone like Yngwie Malmsteen, the only reason he's able to be able to pick up the guitar and make it look easy and effortless is because back in the day, when he was chasing these things, he did it with that intent. All of the guys, all the greats did, you know, they had that intent. So they can now get to that place where they can pick up the guitar and it's just there because they've done all the physical work over the years. So they're not still having to put in such vicious intent into their mechanics of what they're doing, but maybe the intent is more in terms of the sound that they're going for. They're in the zone there, right? So it's a different kind of intent then, but it's still there.
I think that's a huge hang-up for a lot of guitar players, is they seem to be hung up on where they want to be instead of the journey to be there. Whereas like guys like Yngwie, and I know we pick on Yngwie a lot, but he really, you know, everybody really does know his journey. They just don't hear his journey, which is that he really had to put in all of that groundwork and have all those mishaps and
I guess so,
starts.
Yeah, and also that those bits are left out in the telling of the story, because like a lot of the time when a lot of these famous guitar players kind of tell their own story. They don't really tell it fully. And it's not because they're lying, it's just because to them, maybe it's not important to remember certain things. Like, and also their perspective of it is just like,
oh, and also
different.
It seems like to them too, as well, somewhat boring.
I just played every day, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I just played every day, you know. But what you're not getting from that is the years of intent, the years of, you know, obsessively doing something, but honing it as well. They don't really talk about that because, well, I guess why would they? You know, they don't really have to study their own journey. We're studying it in retrospect because we're learning stuff, or I'm teaching, or whatever. They're just doing it because they're writing music or whatever the hell it is. That's why a lot of these famous guitar players are not very good guitar teachers, because they've never really had to be, because they don't really have to understand what they do or how they do it. You know, it's everybody else that wants to understand how they do it, you know. But what I was saying was, where was I? Yeah, so the honing of stuff.
Yes.
So that's the thing. So it's like you've got a sound in your head, and it's like, okay, so you could just repeat it. You know, something like that, for example. And you could just keep doing that, but it's sounding a little bit weak, and you don't understand why it sounds weak, stuff like that. And it's understanding that really the journey is not just recycling something like, not just cycling something like that again and again, hoping that your picking is suddenly magically going to get better. It's realizing that, you need to keep honing the sound, and you need to keep honing those really bad transitions, because like string transitions are like where a lot of it goes wrong.
And I think this is, again, we'll touch back on the mindless playing, because, you know, a lot of people you've brought up in the past, you know, playing in front of the TV and, we'll get the hate now. But, you know, how do you expect, of course, muscle memory, but how do you expect to get better?
Yeah.
If there's no intent behind that practice regime that you're doing in front of the TV.
Yeah, and that is a real important point, because, you know, there is different types of practice, you know, and the thing is, practice, when you have a problem or you're not quite able to do something yet, your focus needs to be on it, guys. So you know, if you cannot do something, or you keep playing it and it keeps, you know, there's no point cycling that in front of the TV, is there? That's not going to get better. You need to be involved. You need to be involved. You need to be in it and seeing what's going wrong, in directing yourself to the right courses of action. Otherwise, it's not going to get better. How could it get better? What's going to make that better? You know, 10 episodes of The Simpsons. You know, it ain't gonna... You know, but if you've already got it right and it's flowing fine, then, you know, repeating stuff, okay, that's fine, right? But I'm talking about your technique sucks. How do you make it better? You need to be involved with intent. There's no other way around it. You know, that stuff doesn't happen passively, you know. So that whole playing in front of the TV thing, it's like, the stupid thing about that is, you know, people thought I was having a dig at some other guitar player. Guys, I don't watch channels of other YouTube guitar teachers. I have no idea how they teach, what their methods are. So if I say something that contradicts someone else, it just happens. It's just the way it is. And
why don't you watch other guitar teachers or other guitar players?
Well, I don't need to. Why would I? I mean, because the thing is like, I can play. I like the way I play. I'm happy with the way I play. I teach. So there's no point me watching videos unless I'm learning, right? So why would I watch teachers from other videos from other teachers? There's just no point.
Yeah.
You know, the only reason you would watch that is if you're trying to copy them or get their methods or see what they're doing and then try and do it yourself. You know, I just don't see the point. You know, that's why I don't follow what other people do, because it just distracts you. It keeps you
and you've got to remember
obsessed with what other people are doing. It's just,
and you've got to remember the people that are watching this video are watching other YouTube tutors, so they're seeing other things from other tutors.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. So they might think that, someone's contradicting someone else, or they're in a dig or whatever, and it's... Well, at least I know from my perspective, I can say this hand on heart, I don't have any problems against any other teachers. I don't watch their stuff, and I don't have any rivalry with them, you know. I can't speak for them. They might have a problem with me, I don't know. Some of them might, I don't give a shit, you know. I do know that a lot of them watch my stuff, so hi guys. But yeah, I don't watch other people's stuff because I don't need to. It's plain and simple. But yeah, we were talking about the whole TV thing. So yeah, that's my view on that. Look, if you're going to practice and you have a problem, you need to be involved in the solution. Yeah, it's not passive, you know. It's fine. If you can already do something, then cycling it is fine. Yeah, but if you cannot do something, you need to actively make yourself be able to do that thing.
Can I ask a question? Why would somebody cycle something?
I guess just to get it more ingrained, to get it feeling a bit more comfortable,
So
a bit more natural.
Learning a passage and like stringing it together and then sort of like wanting that to be in their muscle memory. I mean,
really.
Because I don't understand it.
I guess anecdotally, I guess other people have their results that they think that they've got from endlessly cycling stuff. But honestly, my best results have always been actively focusing on honing the sound. So I'm taking it from not sounding how I want it to sound to sounding like I want it to sound. And to me, that doesn't happen passively. You have to be involved.
Yeah.
Once you can do that, then you can play, you can noodle around. And I think that's where a lot of where things become natural, I think happens in the process of playing. But I still think it happens in the process of being involved in playing, but enjoying the sound. So instead of me focusing on the technique, I'm focusing on the sound and I'm enjoying that. And that's where, I mean, that's what Yngwie, I think, means when he says he just played.
Yes, he did. He did just play.
So it doesn't mean you just sat there for like 5 hours going, watching TV, because I cannot focus on something external.
No.
And focus on that and do that right.
No,
it makes no point.
Yeah,
it makes no sense to me.
Yeah, with intent to get better. Because I think, you know, it's like you can walk and you can talk, right? But you've mastered that. You had to master walking and falling on your ass all the time. And it's exactly the same with anything else you do. You know, driving a car or whatever. You know, until you master that, can you concentrate on talking to your passenger while you're driving the car? Yeah, because you're just focused, and so you should be till you've got that under your belt. So you know,
I think, you know, it's like anything. You know, I think people kind of want an easier way of doing something, really, isn't it? You know, you don't really want to sort of put in the grunt work, so you're looking for a workaround. So I can get away with, you know, doing something that entertains me whilst I'm doing something which is kind of like, do I have to fucking do this? You know,
I think also we always see the glory. You know, it's in we only ever. You never see somebody at the beginning of their journey, whether whatever aspect it might be, whether it be guitar playing, you know, weightlifting, like Terry Holland's right now, you know, has gone into...
So he's a former strongman, Terry Holland's.
Yeah. He's gone into bodybuilding now. And we've been watching his vlog for that. And just literally the levels that he has to go to, there is no way on earth I would ever put myself through that. But
yeah, the thread with that is none of that's passive, is it? He's actively, he has to be 100% involved in that, otherwise he's not going to get the results. So in the gym, when he's in the gym, he's not just passively going through exercises. It's like back to like the old days of reading Arnold Schwarzenegger's stuff. There's a good book out there, Education of a Bodybuilder, I think it's called. But Arnold Schwarzenegger wrote the book. And while some of the stuff that might be outdated by now because it was written in the 70s, a lot of the stuff is very revealing about the intent that these guys use when they're in the gym. So they're actually, instead of just going through the motions and like doing the movements, they're actually putting their mind into the actual muscle that they're working. So he'll like literally focus his attention onto, like, for example, the bicep and like get the blood flow, and he'll actually like put all of his concentration into the bicep and feel like the pump or whatever when he's doing the motion. And in the same, whatever muscle group he's working, he'd be doing the same thing. And bodybuilders now do that. A lot of people are open about talking about that stuff, that they do that. And it just goes to show how much mental game is involved, because they get more results than people that go to the gym, just go through the motions and don't really actively be involved.
Embody the whole from A to Z, isn't it? And I think that
A to Z, Americanisms. We keep picking up Americanisms. Guys, what have you done?
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
Even English people starting bastardizing our own language because of you guys.
Exactly what I was going to say.
A to Z. I mean, we should be saying A to Z, but it doesn't sound as good, does it?
No, it doesn't.
A to Z does sound better.
It does. And I think that is what's probably missing in a lot of people's guitar journey, is in... obviously when you're at school and you pick up a musical instrument for the first time, you work on a grade system. And so that's kind of very formulated, so you can see the process through. Now, when we pick up an instrument as a young adult or an older adult, a mature adult, I should say, that's when it changes. There's a fly in here. Well, it's not a fly. Is it a fly? It's just a flying
It's a flying thing. It's a UFO. It's unidentified.
Oh my God. The truth is out there.
It's great. It's a reptilian.
Exactly. And I think that's... The dog's coming over.
Dog's coming over.
Yeah.
Right, Mum? How you doing, babe?
Yeah, she's just going to lay there.
She's going to lay down.
I think that's what's missing, is for a lot of people, they don't see that whole intent journey.
Oh, yeah.
At all. And like you were saying...
And to a lot of people, they think it's too woo-woo or esoteric. A lot of people are not very deep, you know, and I think like the more shallow somebody is, the less well they do at a creative endeavor. So if you're pretty shallow and you're not a deep thinker and you're pretty, well, I don't know. Look, I'm just going to say, look, if you're just a bit shallow and you're not much of a deep thinker, there is going to be a limit to how far you get on the guitar, because it is a creative endeavor. It does require all of you. You know, and the more of you that you can give to it, the more you're going to get out of it. But if you're a very surface level person, then you are going to get surface level results. But a lot of this mindset stuff is quite esoteric, I suppose, because you can't see it and feel it and touch it. Well, you can. I mean, your results are that. If you want physical proof, look at your results, right? But I was going to say, just before I forget what I was going to say, is that, yeah, don't be put off if you think this stuff is woo-woo, guys. You know, I know that in the Western world, we're a little bit more materialistic, black and white, and we think that anything that's a bit out there is, oh, fuck that, man. What's that woo-woo shit you're talking about? But it's not. I mean, clearly, how much more proof do you need? Every athlete, every person who's been in any kind of performance endeavor or any businessman, anything who's done anybody who's done anything.
But seriously,
they all talk about the mental game.
Exactly, but you wouldn't be walking right now, you wouldn't be talking right now if you did not have the intent to want to do it.
Well, like I said, because there's no cracking the code out there for children on how to walk, right? You know, children. Grammar's gone. Grammar's fucked up, guys. A child will just do the thing, you know, and it's not
through encouragement.
Through encouragement, but it's like the thing it wants to do is the thing, right? And then it will just do it. So just watch it. Just watch it find a way to get a job done. And same with an animal, you know. It's like you will do it. It's like going back to the shooting I was talking about. There's the goal, the target. Your body knows what it's doing. It's not thick. You know, there's nothing more intelligent than your body just doing its thing. I mean, look at what you do every day without thinking. All the habits we have, you know, making the coffee, opening doors, everything we do every day, most of it's automatic.
Yeah.
That's your body at work. At some point it had to learn how to do that, and now it does it on autopilot without even your prefrontal cortex getting involved. It's all automatic shit. It's amazing. It will get the job done. You just need to be a bit more open, guys, to the idea of, you know, it really is fucking intent, you know. So don't keep searching for the magic answers, you know. You probably already have the answers, you know. I've probably already told you what you need to do. You just have to flip that switch. And a lot of it is also you've got to give yourselves permission to do that as well, because you might think, you know, I can't really do that. Yeah, you can. You really can. Nobody's stopping you, man. Just you. But before I forget, the book. There was a book I wanted to talk about, and it's called Waking Dragons, and it's by a dude called Goran Powell. And it's a martial arts book. It's about his journey through martial arts from a young guy into, you know, getting into karate and eventually doing a thing called a 30-man kumite.
I was going to ask if it was that book.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Did I read it to you, or did you read it, or did I just tell you about it?
Maybe you did read it to me. I can read, but
yeah.
But we
sometimes I will read because I want to read a book, but I want Neen to read it, experience the book as well. We'll just read it together, but I'll read it aloud because we both get to go through the book at the same time, and it's a weird, quirky thing we do.
Yes, and it's much easier, and it's so much more enjoyable because I don't have to read it.
Yeah.
So Ben can read it.
I'm just a faster reader, and
yeah, you are. I'm dyslexic, so hey, you know.
Anyway, so that book, Waking Dragons, that was years ago I got that. But anyway, so yeah, it's a martial arts book, but seriously, even if you're not into martial arts, it's worth a read because it's so good. But there's a point in that when he's saying about he was in a dojo with another guy and they were practicing bunkai I think they were doing bunkai. Anyway, basically it's like a section taken from a kata in karate. And you can practice that section with a partner, and it's like a series of moves. It's an attack maybe and a receive or a block and a redirect, whatever the hell it happens to be. Anyway, they were practicing this stuff back and forth, him and this other guy, and it was just them. And then the sensei walked into the dojo and he said, nope, no, doing it wrong. Said, if you're going to do this, I want you to throw every single punch like you mean it. I want you to actually try to hit each other. And all of a sudden they were like, oh shit. You know, they sort of like, they kind of blood drained from their body and they were like, oh fuck, this has become serious all of a sudden. So they went from being quite jovial and relaxed to being completely 100% Jason Bourne level alert. Because they were going to get hit in the face if they didn't move. If they didn't react, they were going to get hit in the face. And then they suddenly went from just two guys just kind of having a jovial, semi-serious spar or whatever the fuck they were doing to being like, wow, 100% at a different level.
Yeah,
right? And that's intent.
Yeah. That's right.
Guys,
they had
you
to
know,
find,
that's, yeah, that
yeah,
is.
they had to find it, didn't they? They had to find their A game to, yeah.
And that's the difference, guys, between practicing something half-assed and then really meaning it. Yeah, honing it. And this is not me saying you have to constantly be in a state of life or death. You know, in case anyone wants to, before you jump in and try and reframe what I'm saying and say that you constantly need to be fucking like a gorilla on it all the time. I'm not saying that. You're not always going to be like that. But you do need to be like that sometimes, especially when you are working on something which has been defeating you for so long and you need to make that leap. So you do need that intent.
And I think this is, you know, like everybody's story. You will stay where you are whilst you are content. Once you get pissed off, that's really where the transformations happen. I think
being content or being in a state where it's kind of, you're comfortable enough, even if you're slightly pissed off, but you're comfortable enough not to do anything about it. I think that's a very deadly place to be because you will settle. You'll just stay there because it's not, the problem isn't big enough for you to do anything about it. So you're going to stay there. I mean, you might stay there for 10 years. Yeah.
Easy. We see it all the time.
I mean, that's life, man. Yeah. I mean, not even just guitar, in life. You know, when you get to a point where you don't really have to fight for anything anymore and you're kind of comfortable, that's a deadly place. This is where you become lazy, don't do anything about it. You just stay where you are and then you think, shit, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that intent is absolutely crucial, guys. So yeah, guys, we've rabbited on for a little bit now, but really intent is such an important thing. It's just one word, and I know I keep repeating it, but once you've experienced it, well, you have experienced it. You guys know what that means. You've experienced it many times in your life, but sometimes we forget that it is such a game changer.
Exactly. Exactly.
Whenever you've done anything in your life and you really wanted it, and you just went after it pretty quickly, and a series of events happened, and you were like, right, fuck this, I'm going to do that, and you went and got it. That was intent at play. You've got it already. You already have it. So just deploy it on the guitar.
And also, read that book.
Yep. Waking Dragons.
And watch Faster.
Great movie.
And all the Jason Bournes.
Yeah, that's intent. You watch Jason Bourne act in those first couple of Bourne movies. Well, the first three. Everything is lightning quick, lightning quick, lightning. It just reacts, makes decisions. And I know it's a fiction, but seriously, just use that as your inspiration. Is acting, decisive action is intent.
I mean, that's what makes a good actor.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we fucking love watching stuff like that as well. It's so satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
To see that stuff in a movie, you know, fucking intent. Straight down the middle, balls. And
we'll go and watch Terry Holland or some of the Strongman.
Some of the Strongman stuff, yeah, it's great shit.
Yeah.
It's inspiring to see all that stuff.
Look, I'm a girl and I watch that crap.
Why can't you be a normal girl? Be into makeup and fucking shit like that.
No, because
I'm glad you're not.
Yeah, no, because I'm too busy getting my balls out of the jar and getting on with my fucking life.
I can stand it if you're one of those makeup obsessed.
Yeah.
Bints. I don't know what to call you. I wouldn't know what words to use.
Makeup obsessed, girly.
Pop obsessed. Yeah, girls' world stuff.
Yeah, girls' world.
Yeah.
Flashbacks.
Yeah.
Now we're waffling.
What am I like? Yeah, that's how to end a video. Anyway, intent, balls. You guys have all the ingredients. It's just remembering to deploy it, all right? So you've got permission. Give yourself permission. Just do it. Right. The Tao of Badass Guitar. Guys, read that, read it again, and read it again. Emblazon that shit into your skull because you need to give yourself permission. You need to just get your balls out of the jar and go after what you want with no excuses.